Hello. Hi. Hello, August. It's the afternoon here, actually. How are you all going? Surprise live, because I was thinking about talking about this. It's a bit like it's in my wheelhouse, but it's not. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I am pretty political, and when people, I always say this, but whenever anybody in the anti-MLM space says, well, I don't want to comment about politics, I'm not political. MLMs are political. Okay, so I will remind people in case we get just some randos turn up. Normally I do anti-MLM content. Hello, Rosie. Long time no see. How you going? Yeah, I think that if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm pretty political. And yeah, I think it's so, at the moment, it's so difficult not to get swept up with what's happening in the Democratic Party. Yeah, it's for change, but still there's Gaza, and still, there's people in Palestine dying at the hand, from American weapons. So I hope she comes out and says something about that. Yeah, because I think, think about why they didn't want Joe. Think about that's it. I think they would have been okay with him if he was against the genocide. Imagine that. And even in my own country, Australia, we have an opposition party who are quite conservative. Yeah, very conservative. And the leader is, I call him Voldemort, Peter Dutton. Oh God, he's just vile. He's a little toad of a man who just is so sour, and no reason to be sour. Silver spoon, However, our, Prime Minister, who he was a worker, and he's just put through a bunch of anti-union stuff. And I'm like, so not only are you aiding and abetting a war criminal, but you're also really walking away from your base. No one's going to forgive you for this, and yeah, it's a bit bleak, but we do have a really strong Green Party in Australia. And I just saw the other day, there was another lady who joined. What's her name? So, because there's a couple in Brisbane. And let me have a look. So her name is Rima Naji, and she is I'm pretty sure she's Palestinian. So, and she's in Moreton, which is in my home state. Yeah, I know Canada and Australia, we are having similar problems at the moment. And like there were Nazis uh, marching in Brisbane, which is the capital city of my state, and that's really concerning to me. But it's not a surprise because this year I had a grade 8 class. I'm a teacher, in case people don't know, and we make masks, and they tell a story with a moral. It's very nice. And I have had to tell 2 separate classes, because they don't do it for the whole year, they just do it for a term. I've had to tell 2 separate classes not to draw Adolf Hitler masks. Yeah, like had to stop the class and say, don't draw Hitler. Okay. And they say it's a joke. Oh, it's just a joke. If it is just a joke, why did you get so stressed out when I said I'd tell your parents? Because they really did. But also, like they think it's a gag, like they think it's a lol, and it's honestly not. And I tried to show them the triangle of hate, or the pyramid of hate. Down the bottom is microaggression and jokes, and at the top is genocide. And when I showed them that, they said, you're accusing us of genocide? And then they went nuts. And I'm like, oh my God, shut up. I'm like, no, I'm saying that that's what can happen, for goodness sake. Anyway, so I'm hoping that the Greens get. I can see, honestly, the Greens having power, and they would probably more likely work with Labor, which is who is in power at the moment, and rather than the Liberals, which are conservative. Both my dad and I, like, we're union. I'm a union rep, and big union power person. He was on a picket line for a couple of years when the mines was bought. When the mine he was working at was bought by Rio Tinto, and they tried to keep bringing contractors. So he was on the picket line for 2 years. Labor voters our whole lives, and then now neither of us vote for Labor because of what it is. Yeah. So crossing my fingers that we have a bit of a turnaround. And crossing fingers that this is going to turn around for America as well. I think it's a positive direction, but obviously genocide. And it's just been funny watching Trump completely unravel, because he's just so annoyed that Joe Biden's not still running. It's like, dude. But it's either tactical or not. It could be tactical because it doesn't matter. He's going to try and do another January 6th, or he's just an idiot. Both of those could be true. Yeah, and what we're talking about today, Project 2025, is the mandate for, what is it, conservative handover or something like that? I need to look at the wording. Project 2025. So I was on, whose live was I on the other day? DC's. I was on DC's live the other day, and I said that I was going to look at how Project 2025 is going to apply to MLMs, because they have a mandate for what's going to happen with the FTC. So it's called Project 2025 Presidential Transition Project. And Trump is lying when he says that he doesn't know what it is. Half of his ex-cabinet and staff are in it. There's like so many connections to him. Yeah, and you can see that they started it in his last, when he did serve as president. And that's why the Supreme Court is what it is today, because the Heritage Foundation said, here's a list of judges. We want to be on the Supreme Court. Thank you very much. And Donald did it. So, yeah. So I just think it's hilarious. So they've been recruiting for Donald Trump's cabinet staff, right? Because they want to basically fire everybody and install Trump loyalists. So then maybe he doesn't have to give up power. I mean, he's 80, 79, 80. What are they thinking? You know, like, it's just funny that they've gone all in with him when he's so old. But they've basically released this book, and it's been funny at the DNC with with people bringing out big books, like, look at this book. I'm like, yeah, well, the book's also on my Kindle, so that's where I was reading it. But the absolute nerve of these people to bring out a mandate and just tell everybody what they're like. They thought that it was just so like a done deal. They're like, okay, well, we're just going to tell everybody what we're going to do because it's going to happen. No one's going to stop us. Wrong. You basically, I think that's probably more than anything, other than Trump being a big baby. That's what's, effed it up for him. So it's been interesting. And so far in the FTC, I haven't found anything that relates to MLMs, except maybe like some antitrust stuff where they do want less regulations. And I think that will affect MLMs in them getting away with more shit. Yeah. I know that they want to fire Lena Khan, who is the head of FTC. All right, so we are going to watch this video. It's called Left Wing Code Words and Language, and it is being presented by possibly the two most joyless women I've ever seen. Have they ever smiled without looking like a sneer? I don't know. But their hatefulness seeps through the screen. The Bethany's the one, the red strawberry blonde headed girl lady. She just has like, am I doing it? Like she's so angry. She's just got a permanent like anger like things. Girl, come to the left. We've got Jupiter. No, everybody's got Jupiter. It's not a left wing thing. Yeah. And the other lady, Katie, I don't know, it just looks like she's got the worst posture in the world. Like, she's all the way down her chair. And then also it looks like she's got the glasses that, like sometimes, has anyone seen the Barbie eye glass, like where you pretend you're Barbie? Like, it just looks like she's wearing fake eyes where she's asleep. Like when Homer Simpson was in the, what's it called? In a jury. All right, so we're going to watch that. I've watched the beginning of it. Actually, maybe I've watched most of it. I think I watched it with somebody. Gosh. Yeah, I have watched most of it, and it's interesting. All right, Let's get it started, Tish. So this is from a YouTube YouTube, what's it called? Channel called ProPublica, and they have had early access. I need to go this way. I don't know how they access these training videos, but they did, and I'm glad that they did. Okay, that's better. Because you can see what they're doing, and yeah, it's pretty gross actually. But the other thing too is people don't want this. People do not want this. This is a minority of conservatives who are saying you have to live by our Bible. I know we don't. What? Yeah. Hello, Demi. All right. Let's see. Maybe I need to. Okay. Let me know if the sound is working and if there's an echo or anything. Can I get rid of the.
Hi, I'm Katie Sullivan, and just a normal American woman. But to the left,
she's just a normal American woman. Said normal people. Not weird people. Weird people don't say that. Weird people don't say, I'm just a normal woman. Okay, so former acting assistant, attorney general, Office of Justice Programs, U.S. Department of Justice. Also, might I just add, Katie's showing quite a lot of cleavage there. Bit of side boob, you know. I don't know if that's very good. Some of these things are so dumb to debunk, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, same, Demi. I get insulted. I'm like, I'm not normal. Although I don't want to go all the way to Rebecca Elphemia from Enagic, who's like, I'm a rebel. I don't play by anyone's rules. I'm like, oh, shut up. Okay, let's keep going.
that makes me a cisgendered ethno-imperialist birthing person with pronouns she, her. Words like
My favorite part of that was her, because she's reading from a teleprompter. What was written there? What was written there? And also, not all women are birthing persons. Okay, I'm not a birthing person. I sure am not. I sure have not birthed anyone. Okay. Oh no, I've got pronouns in my bio, guys. And did you catch she used a pronoun when she said I am just a normal person. I is a pronoun, Katie. You cannot escape pronouns in language. Ethno what did she say again?
spit out before we choke on it. Hi, I'm Katie Sullivan, and just a normal American woman. But to the left, that makes me a cisgendered ethno-imperialist birthing.
Ethno-imperialist. Imagine. Yep. How dare anyone try to be more inclusive? It's like when so they've already like criticize Kamala for doing that. Am I pronouncing her name right? Because I know the right-wing conservatives pronounce her name incorrectly, and I've heard that is a way of being racist because it's like, oh, one of those weird names, not a normal name, like Katie. But an ethno-imperialist, I don't think I've heard anyone like sort of like say that. I've heard people describe themselves as cisgender, but and like I've been there with the terms and saying I'm not cisgender, I'm just normal, which is so fucking ignorant, okay? Because I'm saying that people who aren't cisgender aren't normal, and once I accepted that, I'm like, yeah, it's just it's a scientific term. My brain agrees with my body, you know. That's it. I'm cisgender. I do not lose anything or gain anything from saying that.
Person with pronouns she, her. Words like that are quite a mouthful, and it's one America needs to spit out before we choke on it.
In the eyes of many in the world, this every 4-year ceremony we accept as normal is nothing less than a miracle.
In America, we understand that a nation is only living as long as it is striving.
What does that mean? Because I don't think he understands it.
Only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger.
This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper.
Whether we go forward together with courage or turn back to policies that weakened our economy, diminished our leadership in the world, America's future will be in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely, Demi. They do not know what it means. Have you seen those videos of the people? There was a woman who wrote a book about being woke, and someone asked her to define woke, and she couldn't. And she said, "Oh, this is just this moment's gonna go viral, isn't it? Yeah, bitch, because you put your reputation on the line." Did anyone notice anything about that footage? Anyone? Yeah. Anyone in the audience or on the replay crew? Hi. What did you notice? Something that might be missing from that intro? There's a channel called Weird Reads with Emily Louise that did an interview with someone who's been doing an ethnographic kind of study of women sucked into these movements. It's really interesting. Yeah, I think I know the book. Is it? I think that maybe that person was on. What's it called? On The Majority Report, and that's what I've noticed as well. There's even like a TikTok trend of people who are estranged from their parents. Like there's so many people whose families are fractured because they've got a relative who went all in for fucking Trump, and they're obsessed. It's like transphobia, where they bring it back to their. Funny you say this, August. They didn't have a single picture of Obama. Obama was, and they had one picture of Biden signing something at his desk with a mask on. So I'm going to take that to mean, look at this cuck. He's with this mask. What a beta soy boy, you know? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that's the same one, Demi. I think I know the one. It looks really interesting, actually. And I think that it's very isolating. And so, I think Stephen Hassan, who I have disavowed Stephen Hassan because he was supportive of J.K. Rowling, but he did do some work on the Trump cult, and it's like that where, you lose everything to the cult. So, all right. Yeah, no Obama and just one of Joe Biden. These two women are so unpleasant, you know? Oh, cool. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Bethany, are your children afraid of monsters in the attic or under the bed?
Yeah, they have been, but we always tell them that they do not exist.
Today we have news. There are monsters in Uncle Sam's attic.
It's the words, phrases,
Have they ever had a conversation that was natural? Ever? Ever?
definitions that are used, which may look like one thing, but absolutely mean another. And it is scary.
During this training, we will identify the problem, discuss examples from our time in the federal government.
When you do dot points, you do not need full stops on the end. Okay, thank you.
As well as the 5 cross-cutting principles of the current administration.
And you need to write numerals in full from 1 to 10. Thank you.
We will teach you how to unwind the words and phrases that have been so artfully layered into every document in the federal government. You can do this in any role at any level of seniority. This training will prepare you to make changes and fast. The left continually pivots and assaults definitions and phrases. They twist words and phrases to support subconscious acceptance of a philosophy that was rejected or is against the grain of human existence.
What about stop the steal? Lock her up. Those are some pretty coded words, right?
Like, what is a woman?
A woman is somebody who says they're a woman. There you go. That's it. That's it.
Perhaps the most effective tool the left wields is their ability to engage in constant subliminal advertising through their narrative, words, and phrases. Marxism became socialism, then democratic socialism, and is now represented by the terms social justice and equity. This is perhaps the most scary of all.
Why? Why is that scary? And also, it's not true. Marxism and socialism are different. There are some, more smarter people than me who can explain the difference, but it's all different. Social justice? Why would you be against social justice? That's the thing. Like, they're so full of hatred.
Katie, what brings to mind is the quote, "He who controls the language rules the world." It's attributed to Joseph Stalin and other tyrants. And George Orwell stated, "He who controls language controls culture."
Get George Orwell's name out your fucking mouth. Not for you. He's not for you. No, ma'am. Nope. God damn. Yeah. It's all fear mongering. All fear mongering. Like, that's all they have. I cannot think of a single thing that they do that isn't about some sort of like fear, you know? Vaccines, DEI, which is, they say DEI because they're not allowed to say the N word. That's what they mean when they say DEI. Did you know? Yeah. George Orwell will be haunting you later, Bethany. Yes, this lady's name is Bethany. What a surprise, right?
Even more, Hitler and others lived by the creed. If you repeat a lie often enough, people will believe it. Without
Imagine that. Hitler said that, right? If you repeat a lie often enough, stop the steal, the election was stolen, Trump's still the president, Kamala the border czar, what else? Fauci, just so much bullshit that they say over and over again. You know, why does Trump say things like Sleepy Joe, or he, we say Genocide Joe, but that's actually based in the truth. Yeah, it's this whole thing is ring 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 ring. Hello. It's the pot. Yep. Is the pot calling the kettle black? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's right. That's what they do. Yeah. Okay. All right. Love you. Bye. Repeating lies is how you get people who believe ventilators kill people and cigarettes aren't bad for your health. Yup. That's what I just learned about Steven Crowder. He actually justifies smoking as a habit. He thinks it's good for you.
Without doubt, it's true. Language is a powerful and often controlling tool.
Career bureaucrats and the left are also using language to change culture and gain more and more authority, thereby upsetting the balance of power envisioned by our founding fathers.
What do you care about that? You want a Christo-fascist state? Theocracy? Yeah, you don't care about the founding fathers.
This, in essence, weaponized language against the American people.
This training is vital to you as a political appointee. If there's one thing you take from this training, it is to know when you start your job as a political appointee, every single word, phrase, and acronym must be vetted, and you must determine what implications every word has before publishing or moving forward with any official or internal document.
All right.
Yeah, that's interesting because sorry, I'm just reading Demi's comment. I just don't think that, like, there's a lot of smart people on the left, right? But they're not diabolical. They're not constantly thinking, ooh, how am I going to get one over on the conservatives? Ooh, let me change the context of this word. Like, how paranoid are you? Guess what we mean when we say social justice? Social fucking justice. And we're going to get into women's health later. Well, healthcare, right? And they're going to say that this means abortion, and it doesn't. Like, not everything means abortion. God, it's so ridiculous. And remember, this is an internal video that was not supposed to be seen by the wider public. This is a training video. Training. They are trying to make people, like, they're supposed to be giving them fucking a how to, like, guide. I did training as well at my last school, and it was like, watch this video about our pedagogy, watch this, and it's like, this is for a cult. This is not for a government job, you know? Yeah, well, I know about psychopets. God, Wilbur is driving me nuts at the moment. He's obsessed with Minnie, and she's not even in heat. So I don't know what's happening.
So now that we have identified the problem, let's give the viewers a taste of what we saw in the Trump administration. Bethany and I were both part of a coordinated effort in the Trump administration focused on trying to take back hijacked language and definitions across the United States government and even at our engagements in the United Nations. From our experiences, we will teach.
The fact that these two women were at a United Nations conference with their ignorance, how embarrassing. And you know Trump sent them there because of that. Like, imagine you get to be in the same room as like Malala and Emma Watson, and then you've got these ghouls saying, I'm not going to give you my pronouns, I don't have any. You know, like,
you how to identify the left's progressive language, scrutinize career staff compositions for dangerous language, and how to combat their manipulative efforts, ensuring clarity of definition and conservative intention.
Conservative intention. Tell us again how everybody's conservative, right? You want to hear hijack language, ma'am? Go back and look at the absolute word salad shit Guy Ballard used to spew. Foundation of I am bullshit that promoted all the manifestation and selfishness we have now. Absolutely. So they call people who are career staff, like careers and career people, and basically they want to get rid of all those people. They're people who are, guaranteed a job. I bet you they're not going to say that about the Supreme Court, though, who are career staff. Bet you then that's not on the ticket, though,
Bethany and I are going to give you some examples of what we mean by this need to always ensure clarity. But in no way are we able to foresee the future and anticipate how the progressive left will continue to co-opt even more words and definitions.
Imagine that. Did you know that, all words are made up, right? All words are made up. And all definitions for the words are made up. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I don't know how you're going to, did we expect them to predict the future? I'm pretty fucking bad at predicting anyway, but this just feels like it's I don't know, a reason to shit on leftists,
We can tell you the words and phrases being used today, but by the time you enter the administration, these examples may be obsolete. This will help you spot crucial.
You're obsolete. Like, honestly, these women are obsolete. No one needs what you're offering, okay? The irony of these people being so pro-conservative, but they both work. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not know that they don't want you to work in that side of the tracks? Right? There's only one job for a woman, having children. That's it. Being in the home. That's the basis for all of their thought. at the heart of this, it's going back to what the founding fathers were sort of. They said all men are created equal, but obviously, you know, all white men are created equal, and they didn't mean slaves and things like that. But yeah, ladies, the leopards will eat your face too. Okay, they're already like massive misogynists, but you know.
issue areas to pay close attention to. We do not know what they will be calling men and women by the time you begin your tenure with the administration.
What will we be calling men and women? Because what do we call them now? What do you call men and women? I just call men and women men and women. Sometimes I say feminine presenting people or male presenting people. Yeah. Or if there is a trans man or a trans woman, I might say that. But generally, I just say man or woman because trans men are men and trans women are women. And my non-binary pals, I can call them a person, can't I? Imagine that, like you said. Imagine changing wording to be kinder and more inclusive. How horrible. I know. That's it. Like, I was listening to, I've been watching little bits of MSNBC, and they have been pretty not pro Democratic Party, but anti-Trump. And there is a group, Republicans for Kamala, and that's because they are really sick of the negativity of MAGA and Trump and just being completely joyless. And that's why a lot of people are criticizing stupid things like their laugh. You know, Tim Walsh making a joke about white guy tacos. All right. It's okay for them to shit on somebody, but they can't like make a joke. You can make a joke, but they're not allowed. Rules for thee, but not for me. And Ben Shapiro, facts don't care about your feelings. It's like, are you kidding? Because reverse racism isn't a thing. You can have anti-white bigotry, but white guy tacos is not it. Yeah. Yeah. The hatred that they have is something that traditional Republican Party people are trying to get away from. And that's why they are supporting Kamala, because they can see that the far left has taken the party. And there are more people who are just centrists or whatever, you know? And it absolutely, kindness and inclusion is great. And what was I going to say? Oh, they've already tried to run campaigns on transphobia and xenophobia, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. They ran on it before because most people believe in bodily autonomy and parents being in charge of their child's bodily autonomy, and that people should mind their own business. And it's weird if you don't, right?
The left is trying to dismantle America and rebuild it in their own image by using the art of deception, and words and definitions are their weapon of choice.
Well, that they might be using words as a weapon, but guess what? Guess what the MAGA people did use as weapons? Weapons! They tried to dismantle the democracy on January 6th. They were like brutal to the police, you know? was there any deaths at January 6th? I cannot remember, right? There were Republican politicians locked down, hiding under their desks, right? How ridiculous. How ridiculous these people are. They're trying to dismantle our democracy while actively trying to to put a theocracy in state. Damn, you know. Oh, that's right, there was. And then they told the stories like, oh no, but she had a stroke. It was not related to January 6th. Bitch.
Remember, words change culture. Bethany, with your extensive experience with both domestic and international policy issues, and in light of your role in leadership positions at USAID, can you walk us through some examples of how the left uses words, weaponizes really, words and definitions? And if you could do that in a context of the cross-cutting issues that are identified in the mandate for leadership, and really, as we understand, the cross-cutting issues were identified because they are the pillars of the Biden administration. And so they've been layered into virtually every document in the federal government. If you could walk us through some of those examples, I think it would be incredibly helpful.
I'd be happy to, absolutely. The 5 topic areas for today's discussion are centered on women, children, and family, environment, human rights and border security, the gender cult, and equity. The first topic, women.
You know, we're going to have some transphobia, some sexism, some racism. What else? What else are we going to have? Probably some ableism in there. Yeah. These people. Like, how is this a training video? Because you only just popped those words up on the screen. You know, like a training video has like a written section, and then you do a little quiz, and there's a PowerPoint. Like, this is indoctrination, you know?
In children and family. I worked on international issues and very closely followed the language presented at the United Nations. And I saw up close and personal how this indeed is true. Language is used to control culture. I'll never forget a conversation I had with the chief of staff at USAID. We are trying to provide alternative language for the highly controversial phrase comprehensive sexuality education, or CSE, which at the United Nations had come to mean not just typical sex education, but instead had been morphed into teaching and normalizing sex at very early ages.
Wrong. Flat out wrong. I got this information from someone else. I can't remember where I heard it, but basically, when they're like little, you might go into like no zones, like no one's allowed to touch there. As a grade schooler, you might learn a little bit more about like what constitutes like the thing is comprehensive sexual education, CSE, isn't about teaching people about sex at that age. It really is helping them to recognize if somebody's doing the wrong thing to them, you know. If they don't have the skills and they are being manipulated by somebody, they may like most people know, if you talk to child sex abuse survivors, they will say that they didn't know what it was at a young age, but they knew it was wrong, right? But then if you hear it only from somebody who's abusing you, you might not think, you might like, oh, well, I guess this is just how it is and I don't enjoy it, you know? And yeah, it's only once they get a bit older when they start to look at safe sex. And there's nothing wrong with that, because do you want people to get like pregnant, have STDs, things like that, you know? And if there's a 10-year-old who gets pregnant because no one ever taught her about things, right? The only options are pretty limited there, you know? Yeah, exactly. Oh, August. Yep. And, you know, like learning about what is not good and what adults should and shouldn't be doing can be life-saving. You know, it could prevent grooming, rather than they say it's grooming, you know? Drag queens are groomers. No, the most likely person to abuse you is somebody that you know, and the most likely demographic, white males. That's it. White cisgender males. P.S. Yeah. Oh, that's very sad. I'm sorry to hear that, August. Yeah, and the thing is, anybody who has experienced that trauma would say, no, we need to learn about it when we're younger, so that we can protect ourselves, especially consent. If you don't start talking about consent until high school, that's when we get people who don't know how to put up boundaries, you know? It's just disgusting.
Even as young as preschool. And for girls who became pregnant, that abortion was a preferable method of birth control.
Yep. Do you want 10-year-olds to have babies? Do you want 10-year-olds to have babies? Also, the thing that happens with 10-year-olds is often they don't know that they might be pregnant. So they can't go and get a morning after pill or whatever, right? So they're not going to catch it at that stage, okay? And unless you want a 10-year-old to have a baby, then that is one of the best options for them to ruin their lives, you know, rather than ruining their lives. But what I had also thought about here is, if you're 10 years old and you're getting pregnant, who's the most likely person to be the baby's father? Another 10-year-old or someone older, right? And that's absolutely statutory rape. So she's going to have this like reminder of that. And so often at that age, it's like somebody who's in their family. So disgusting that they are not even going to consider that abortion is the best option for most people at that age. Like, ridiculous.
With the chief of staff. He suggested several alternatives, but each time I told him that, unfortunately, his recommended edit was also interpreted as CSE. Frustrated, he vented, "They have literally co-opted the English language." And it was at that moment that I realized that the progressive left is controlling the language, redefining definitions, and by doing so, are ruling the world. On a positive note, despite all the angst that we did succeed on that negotiation. DevEx published an article with the headline, "No Mention of Reproductive Rights in Declarations Out of G7 Development Ministerial." You can read more about this in the course materials section.
So I think that is to do with they weren't going to provide any aid to people who had abortion as an option. I think there's something like that. And like she's celebrating, you know, I celebrate that we did not have to put up with them using child at CSE or whatever. Like, who's controlling the language, Bethany? I wish birth control stuff wasn't shamed so much. I wouldn't have suffered with horrific menstruation pains for 20 years if I hadn't felt too ashamed to get. That's exactly it. You don't know why someone's on birth control. There are some medications that control acne, like if you get cystic acne. There are, like Demi said, you know, like it can help control pain and other aspects of your cycle, you know, maybe regularity, things like that. And yeah, it's interesting because Wilbur's being silly. Hop down, please. Hop down. Good boy. It was always embraced in my family. Like, my mum asked me if I wanted to go on it. Like, as soon as I, you know, like got a boyfriend, it didn't bother her, you know, like it was always available. And I have taken the morning after pill, I think twice. And I have had an abortion. So, because it was like 20 years ago now. It was right at the beginning of my teaching career. And it was with the worst human in the entire world. He was abusive and gross. And I've never, ever, ever regretted it, because I think you have to be like that to not regret it. You just have to go, I don't regret it because of the circumstances. If I had a tie to that abusive piece of shit, no way. Like, it was no good. And we'd only been going out for like, or we had an online relationship. And then, yeah, we'd only sort of like been seeing each other in real life for like 2 months. Yeah, I know endo is terrible. Hey, yeah, that's it. Hang on. It's an inherited thing for women in my family, so taking birth control has nothing to do with sexual activity since I'm asexual anyway. Exactly. You know, and that's it. The thing with, like, I think I never felt any shame with the abortion, but I felt a little bit like, am I going to get judged for getting the morning after pill? I just thought that. I'm like, are they going to think, you know? Yeah, that's about it. I just thought maybe they're going to be judgy when I leave, but I'd rather that than have a baby. Thank you.
Now, let's talk about the word abortion. The left got very creative years ago and started using different words to make abortion sound a little less like murder. For example, sexual and reproductive health, reproductive rights, sexual and reproductive health services, reproductive health services, health services.
Okay, so guess what? Abortion is under those titles, but so are other things. Sexual and reproductive health, anything to do with sexual health and reproductive health, mammogram is sexual health. Reproductive health is getting a pap smear, okay? And IVF, which I know they don't support anyway. Basically, you know, endometriosis and, you know, birth control, periods, whether you know, like menopause. There's so many different things that are under those titles, all right? And abortion isn't murder because the baby is not a baby until it is born. They're not human until then. Well, life does not begin at conception, all right? Yeah. Oh, wow. Do you know what? Whenever I went to the hospital, I always got told, like, could you be pregnant? No, I can't be pregnant. I'm not. Okay. Anybody who has a late stage abortion, I mean, conservatives are out there saying that people get abortions after birth, after 9 months. Literally nobody has done that. That's called murder. That is murder, right? Right? You friggin' idiots. And people who have abortions, late stage ones, it's only because the mother's life is at risk or there's something like that. Yeah, exactly. No one's like, oh, can't wait to get rid of this baby. There's always something going on when you get a late stage abortion. So yeah. But this health services, that's everything. That's everything. I've got the flu. I've got bunions. These people. And this is fear mongering as well. Anyone who's watched this, like, oh, really? Is that what they mean? Because they might hear somebody talking about going to Planned Parenthood, right? And knowing that they're looking at sexual and reproductive health services and they're going for a mammogram. But they're going, oh my God, is that person getting an abortion? It's too much. It's too much. I have to laugh because it's vile. Absolutely. This entire thing is about hating women. All of this is connected to women, right? I do not hear them talk about men's health in this, all right? Because guess what? Trans men can have babies. And that they're still trans men. I know. And also the thing about creating hardship. Once the baby's born, you don't give a fuck. In fact, JD Vance was talking about how we need to look after the family, but didn't vote for extending the family tax benefit. Yeah, good looking after your family there, because he's funded by Peter Thiel, a billionaire. So his family tax is his family's supported well by a billionaire who's purchased his way to the VP spot. Oh God, he's dragging Trump down though. And then, not shitting on Tim Walsh because he wants to provide breakfast to children and he wants to provide tampons. So it's like, yeah. We only like children when they're in the womb, but once they come out, it's your fucking problem. Yep. That's it. If they really wanted to save lives and keep families together, then families need support and safeguards. Exactly.
Sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. Sexual and reproductive health and rights. All of these include abortion.
Yeah.
For years, we knew that the terms above that I just mentioned had been used and that they were code for abortion.
No, wrong, Bethany. She's so smug too. Like, we know what you're doing when you say health services. You're getting an abortion. Fuck off. So what if I am? So what if I am, Bethany? Stay the fuck out of my womb. Yup. The
left and the career bureaucrats at state and USAID told us, oh, no, no, no. But then when I was negotiating with Canada for the G7 Development Ministerial, I said, well, can we just use these terms and add that does not include abortion? And their response was telling. They
Why? Because it's factually just true. Facts don't care about your feelings, fucking hell, Bethany. It's factually true that getting an abortion is part of that service. And you not putting it in there makes it, like, not accurate. The way she's talking to is like, a fucking, she wouldn't say fuck on camera, probably. Oh my God. When my family was struggling, our church sent us a bill for not tithing enough. Oh my God. That's what I don't get. Like, I've heard MAGA people say, well, maybe we need a dictator. Maybe we need one of them. Shut up.
said, but it does include abortion. Even with that admission, I had a difficult time convincing political appointees that these terms were co-opted.
Did you have a difficult time for that? Because it's just the truth, Bethany. Fucking hell.
Another example hits closer to home and highlights how imperative it is for political appointees to ensure definitions are correct and explicitly followed. 3 days after President Trump took office on January 20th, 2017, he issued a presidential memorandum regarding the Mexico City policy. This became known as the Protecting Life and Global Health Assistance Policy, or the expanded Mexico City policy.
So this is the one where they said that they weren't going to provide aid to anybody who had abortions or something to do with abortion.
When I arrived at USAID in June 2017, I was the first political appointee in a bureau outside the front office and the sixth political appointee in the building. Despite President Trump issuing a presidential memorandum at the very onset of his administration to immediately change course and to protect life, even months later, his guidance was ignored. I remember hearing careers refer to this policy and even seeing documents that referred to it as the global gag order. I immediately told the career staff that we do not refer to it as the global gag order, but instead appropriately as the Protecting Life and Global Health Assistance policy.
Can you imagine her in your office saying, excuse me? You cannot call it the gag order. You need to call it the Protecting Life and blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. Like, can you imagine those people? They would have been like, oh, fuck, Bethany's coming. Oh, she's got a memo in her hand. Oh, fucking hell. Hi, Bethany! You look nice. Is that a new floral dress you're wearing today? Ugh. Gross.
To some, it may seem inconsequential.
But it is. It's fucking inconsequential. It's inconsequential, Bethany.
actually was completely undermining the president and the American people.
Can you imagine that? Undermining the president? Can you imagine it? Perhaps by saying that someone else won, you know? Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Had elected President Trump. So opposed to this policy change, the left actually started a new organization and an international movement called She Decides, which invited NGOs and other foreign governments to join and actively promote abortion services and advocacy, essentially joining together to try to counter what the Trump administration was doing to protect life.
Look at the creases in her forehead. I'm going to take a screenshot of it because she's so angry. She is so angry. They didn't do it right. They weren't listening to him. Whatever shall I do? Shut up. Like, honestly.
Language matters.
Bethany, it's incredible how the left is able to make killing children and babies a pro movement.
That's not what they do. That's not what they do. And most abortions happen in the first trimester. All right. And anyone after that is anything after that is usually because of poor health. I want to see what it looks like at first trimester. Okay, I'm not going to show you that picture. What's the first trimester? How long is that? 3 months. Okay, hang on. Timeline, maybe? Thank you for your patience because I'm just trying to look for a good picture of what a first trimester, because she's talking about they're killing children and little children and babies. No, they are not. So 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks is 2 months. Okay, so at week 12, your plum-sized baby has functioning digestive system and the kidneys have started to produce urine. This is also the week where she will develop the Moro reflex, which means she'll be able to hear and react to stimulations. Try talking to her or singing a lullaby. I don't know about that. God damn it. My eyes hurt. Okay. I will share this for a moment. Okay, so let me go. I'll put this one. So you can see in that first trimester, I'm going to zoom in. That's what is happening in the first trimester, okay? So it's not a baby yet, like it's on its way to becoming a baby, but it's still a bunch of cells. And anybody who has to have a termination for whatever reason usually is not in a situation where they want to do that. So, yeah, it's not killing little children and babies. But do you want to care about the babies once they're born? Because there are people who kill children and little babies and abuse them and things like that. So if you care so much about them, do you want to just have a little bit of like consistency there?
I mean, their narrative is just incredible and so opposite of what the reality of the situation is. We see that also with environment, right? So I remember when I was in school, in elementary school, we were taught that we were all going to be frozen over by an ice age. And of course, this was terrifying. And then in the 80s, it was acid rain. We were all going to die from the acid rain.
Yeah, and what they did was they found what caused the acid rain and they stopped the thing that was causing it.
And then it moved to global warming, which I think, you know, most of the people watching this tape will remember. That was during the Obama administration.
Yes.
No. Yeah, Obama made up global warming. Ha ha. 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 I saw a creator talk about it. They've been talking about global warming for over 100 years. They have. Like, I said it in my video, my last anti-MLM video. Oh, there you go, August. Thank you. Yeah, right. I didn't hear about the big freeze either. I heard about acid rain. I remember acid rain because I was worried about it. But, yeah, then it went away. But what did she say? Oh, Obama created global warming. Yeah, they were talking about greenhouse gases and stuff like that for over 100 years. And it's not a new concept. It's not a new concept.
And then science comes along and disproves the global warming theory in large part. And
I'm sorry, what? Oh, I was going to say in my last video, I was like, Joe Rogan said, I hate when people are like stupid but confident. Me too, Joe, me too. Global warming has not been disproved. FYI. And what they say now is climate change because they keep on saying, oh, well, if it's global warming, then why didn't we have... It's okay, Demi. You can come back. Oh, yeah. I know. Imagine that. Obama created global warming. Yeah, so they changed what they call it. They call it climate change now because it's not just about warming. It's about wild weather, right? And we are at a situation where there may be eventually flowers in Antarctica. And I just was working on a play about that. So global warming is climate change, and climate change is real, 100%. Imagine hearing language that are facts and you're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to believe those ones.
We have one of the most frigid winters ever known. And then the next thing you know, they're calling it climate change. Now, I always understood that climate change meant seasons. Our climate does change all the time. But of course,
Hello, Calliope. Oh my God. If you see that I have tears in one eye, I'm not crying. It's sore and now it's weeping. Did you know that that's what climate change is? Just when the seasons change. Of course. We've always had climate change. Summer, winter, spring. My God. Is this woman for real? Like, I'm sorry. How did you get the position you're in? Because that's honestly one of the least intelligent things I've ever heard anyone talk about with regard to climate change. That's not what they mean, Katie, you dingus.
that's not what's meant by the left. What do you think?
That's not everybody, except for climate change deniers. Every fucking body.
About all of about the left's words and definitions in the environment?
It's a great point, Katie. They don't stop. Climate change allegedly is everywhere.
Climate change is everywhere. It is. You're right, Bethany. I agree. Let's just leave it there, shall we? What's your qualifications to talk about climate change? It reminds me of this movie. It's about, what's it called? 2025. It's a Bible story. It's from Germany. It's by that guy. Yeah, I know, Demi. That crease in her forehead never goes away. And the Bible's been made illegal, and Christians are illegal, and so on and so on. And at the beginning, there's a prologue, and it says communism was all over the place. It's so funny. Climate change is everywhere. Bethany.
And if the American people elect a conservative president, his administration will have to eradicate climate change references from absolutely everywhere.
How? How would you do that? You're just going to do find and replace? For what? Do you know what? If it's not written down, if I don't see it, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's no climate change. Nope.
And according to our intelligence community, the number one threat facing our country today is, drumroll, climate change.
Yeah. Do you not understand? She doesn't. She doesn't understand.
Not Russia, not China, not AI, climate change.
Do you want to have a chat with Donnie, Donald Trump? He likes Russia. Of course, Russia's not a threat to a conservative president. He likes Russia. He wants to be Putin. AI? What's the risk with AI? It's okay, Bethany. There's no AI that could replicate you. It's just not possible because you're so ignorant.
This shows how the federal government is all in on this issue. And climate change activists wield a lot of power. This is an issue to pay.
Climate change activists wield a lot of power. Not Christians, not Christo-fascists. Do they wield a lot of power more than climate change activists? Because I think you'll find that most of, they could be doing more about climate change. And they could have been doing more. But capitalism be doing what they're doing,
pay attention to, as it has infiltrated every part of the federal government. Now, when I think of climate change, I immediately think of population control, don't you?
No. I think of the population dying because of climate change. That's what I think. I think that, we're going to have people who lose their homes and maybe their lives because they live on the coast. But that's okay, because Donald Trump just said there'll be more beachfront stuff, I know. I cannot believe that she went there. Population control. I think you need, I don't know. I just don't know where that jump came from. When I think of climate change, I think of weather. I don't think generally about, controlling people,
I think about the people who don't want you to have children because of the impact on the environment. Perhaps not everyone will make that connection, but
No, you're right. You're right, Bethany. Not everyone, actually, most people don't make that fucking connection. And also, how many people have decided not to have children because of the climate, the impact on the environment? You got any statistics or sources on that one, Bethany? Yeah? I, for one, have thought about it as being a childless cat lady with dogs. I don't want to bring children into, I could still have children and be an older parent. I'm 47. But I don't want to bring a child into this world because I think we're doomed, late stage capitalism. But that's not just the climate, all right? And I just don't know too many other people who think like that. I've never had that conversation with anyone else, Yeah. This is hyperbole, Yeah, and that too, Demi. Well, do you know I probably would have had children if I was married younger. My family did it around the wrong way. In fact, me here, Tish, she is the result of my parents' first date. Not planned, let's just say that much. They stayed together for 30 years after that, so they did well. But so they didn't get married until I was 4 or 5 years old. And then my two sisters had kids out of not being married, which is fine. We're not religious at all. But I did want to be married before I had children, just to be a little bit of a rebel, I'm a rebel because I'm doing the things the other way. And I've been engaged once. I never got married, so I didn't have any kids. And now I'm too selfish to have children. I'm so selfish. And I also think that I probably, my nana definitely passed down the genes of the ADHD, the neurodivergency, the mental illness, all the things. know I sound like an MLM boss babe. All the things. Yeah. So, and I think like I don't want to take a kid to like their job. I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. to drop them off at their job. However, when I was down in working backstage at the big statewide conference concert, I mean, we like that is all ages, and the little kindy kids when they came to check in. Oh my god! I was like, oh, okay, maybe I have missed a little bit of that opportunity to take a kid and like be a stage mom. Yeah.
After spending time in the international space trying to protect life, I can tell you that this is part of their ultimate goal, to control people. Let me share a
I know I'm going to have to ring the pot calling. Ring, ring. Hello, pot. Yeah. This is the kettle. I'm calling you black, not a racism thing. You want to control people. You want to control what people do in the bedroom. That's how far you weirdos want to go. You want to control everything about people. About what they watch, what they do on social media, what they say, what they drive, what they buy. Like, I can't think of any other like group like Christio-fascists who want to dominate what people do. Like, they're going to outlaw porn. And how many conservative men have paid for abortions? That's what I'd like to know. I bet you there's a few.
personal example of how the left seeks to permeate every dimension of life through their skewed terminology and definition. When I arrived at USAID, I had a career employee ask me how many children I had. I thought it was a bit odd of a question, but to be kind.
I'm sorry. That's just a chit chat. Like, that's small talk. Oh, Bethany's never engaged in small talk. Has she? She just wants to like go, like it's all business with Bethany. No small talk. That person is like, would have been like, fuck. Oh no, here comes Bethany. Oh god. Oh, the new girl. Oh, she's so annoying. She just bangs on about Trump. Hi Bethany, how you going? Oh really? How many kids have you got? Oh fucking hell. Sorry, I'm wiping my eye. It's like weeping. I don't know what's wrong with it. Bethany's cursed me.
I answered and I said I had 3 children. And he actually said to me, oh wow, 1.5 too many for the environment. I smiled and I said very politely, if I could have 10 more children, I would. The policy book.
Wow. You fucking ate, didn't you, Bethany? No crumbs left. Like, what the fuck? I'd like to know the context of that conversation. I can imagine that perhaps, all right, perhaps they were having a conversation about her saying that the environmental climate change like language or climate change control is about population control. And then the person says, well, how many children do you have, Bethany? And she says 3 and goes, well, that's 1.5 more than the environment needs. So maybe there's the context. The context does make a difference because, Bethany, language matters. Yeah, and I don't think that she had that conversation.
Captures the essence of climate change. And I quote, "In the name of combating climate change, policies have been used to create an artificial energy scarcity that will require trillions of dollars in new investment, supported with taxpayer subsidies to address a problem that government and special interests themselves have created."
Science? So what? Who created climate change? Governments and other bodies created climate change for the subsidies. A false scarcity? I don't know. Reusable, renewable energy? Fossil fuels? Do you not know the difference between those two things? Sometimes it's like they're talking as if they are superior to you, but then they also prove that they're not very smart.
Page 364, end of quote. Population growth, environmental changes, and weather patterns have all been intertwined by the left. They take or even make up a term and create, extend, and all.
That crease in her forehead. Look at it. She's so angry.
Alter the definition to validate whatever ideology or position they want to ingrain and convince others is good, when in reality it's not. Often.
Why? Why isn't it good? Have you got an argument for that? I don't think you do. Or you would say it. And you can just see Minnie's little tail there. Don't you come over here? Hey, Murphy. So members are able to have on-demand dogs. There's 5 to choose from. That's Murphy. Minnie's behind. Well, you can't choose from Wilbur at the moment because he's locked away because he is insane at the moment. I wonder how many times she read Behold a Pale Horse, because I feel like it's right up her alley. Is that the Bill Cooper one? The conspiracy one? Look at him in his little bow tie. I don't think I have tried to put jumpers on him and he doesn't get it. And then he also pulls off everybody else's jumpers. So the bow tie is good because you can't reach it to pull it off. Oh, okay, cool. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that she'd be into the alien part of it. I think that's way too, like, out of control sort of thing.
As you just heard, they are simply not coherent or logical. Remember, our intelligence community identified climate change as the #1 threat to America. So even if you do not work at the Department of Energy, no matter where you work, because of the Biden administration's executive orders and policy priorities, you will have to look for climate change language and get rid of it.
Bethany, when you were talking about how the left has co-opted so many words and weaponized so many words when it comes to abortion, and that's something that political appointees in the next administration are going to have to really look at, this idea that it's a right. There's many phrases that included rights.
Yeah, it is. It's called bodily autonomy. Stay the fuck out of people's uteruses. They do not want you there. I'm going to put this on 1.25. I didn't even think about it before because just in case you don't know, I actually, in my pre-recorded videos, I speed up my voice. So, because I'm Aussie. We're a bit slow. We're a bit beat around the bush, you know? A bit of a drawl happening. So I speed up my voice. So I didn't speed it up because usually I speed up everything. How will she explain other countries, or does her life view not extend over land borders? Yeah, pretty much.
Is there other places where rights are used as a catch-all and it means something else?
Katie, that's a great question. And in fact, number 3 is human
Katie, that's a great question that you read from the script. Thank you for that.
rights. Human rights in border security. So rights. The left is always coming up with new rights. In the Trump administration, we countered human rights with unalienable rights. The careers went absolutely crazy at USAID. But thankfully, President Trump had established a commission on unalienable rights at the State Department. And we would just point.
Sorry, I got upset. Everybody thought that something was happening, and it is not. Okay. There it is. I got a uterus too. I got 2 actually, but got my own. And the ovaries come off. I think they're ovaries. Hang on. I don't know uteruses well enough. That's so funny. Yay! It's uterus. It's not uteru. I don't know. Did that joke just work? Look how cute they look. Are they eggs or they? Oh, I think they're the eggs, but they got little ears. Yeah, so stay out of my uterus. It's cute and wants to do its own thing. It doesn't want anyone else in it except. I think they're eggs, yeah. I know about freaking women's reproduction. Clearly. Yeah, there you go. I've got a uterus. Sorry about the dogs barking. I'm going to go back a little bit because I did not hear because the dog was barking.
So rights. The left is always coming up with new rights. In the Trump administration, we countered human rights with unalienable rights.
Quite part out loud there. We counter human rights with unalienable rights. What's wrong with human rights? What's wrong with human rights? I'm pretty sure you enjoy human rights, Bethany. And you benefit from a lot of those rights, being a white cisgender. Oh no! I called her cisgender. I would be banned on Twitter.
The careers went absolutely crazy at USAID. But thankfully, President Trump had established a commission on unalienable rights at the State Department, and we would just point back to the commission. Sadly, our founding documents were not sufficient, but
Angry.
Thankfully, the commission was. The Department of State's Commission on Unalienable Rights was charged with providing the U.S. government with advice on human rights grounded in our nation's founding principles and the principles of the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Oh yeah, so you do know the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that people... Because it seems like you don't like any of those rights where people get more rights. Absolutely. That what they plan to do is through the porn ban, they are going to declare things like LGBTQIA plus YouTube channels and things like that. That's porn. So anything to do with the Rainbow Mafia is going to be counted as porn, and so it's illegal.
Now, I'm going to turn over border security to you, Katie, as it deals with legalese.
And we all know that border security is a major issue and the differences between a conservative presidency and administration and the current administration couldn't be more stark than in this area. So getting the word.
Do you know what the facts show there, Katie? That more people were let in under Trump. More people came in under Trump than Biden. Okay? That's like a statistical fact. I don't know where a source is, but I have heard that. Oh, I know. Exactly. Like, and to think that they're going to outlaw porn. That's like prohibition. They're never going to outlaw it.
It's very precise and correct is crucial. The left has co-opted language and definitions as it relates to immigration. Illegal immigration is one of the most devastating challenges America faces today.
Is it? I thought it was something else. Because didn't they say something else was the biggest threat to America? The leftist language, maybe? Also, didn't you say that you went by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? Because they say no human is illegal. You're not an illegal immigrant. Like, it's not. You're either, like, if you come there without... Oh, hang on. I'm thinking of something else. I can't remember. Could be asylum seekers, I think that's more of an Australian thing. Well, in Australia, they like to call people illegal immigrants when they are actually refugees. And they come here illegally. No, refugees don't come here illegally. They are fleeing war-torn things, Illegal immigration happens because people are desperate for something better, and the US makes it almost impossible to legally immigrate. Exactly. And if you would like people to not come, who's going to do all the jobs that currently are done by illegals? I don't think there's many white people who will say, oh, they would say, they're stealing our jobs. Do you want to do the jobs that they're actually doing? Because they're usually not the best ones,
Particularly when you factor in all of the secondary costs and effects of illegal immigration, including illicit drug and human trafficking.
I'm sorry, what? That's coming from illegals? Illegal immigrants? Crime by those people is usually very minimal. And human trafficking, the most likely human traffickers are most likely to be trafficked by somebody you know. It's not like a random Mexican dude who picks you up on a corner,
The left knows the American people oppose illegal immigration and understands its effects. So they have spent years using language designed to both conflate illegal immigration and legal immigration, the latter of which most Americans support, and soften the idea that illegal immigration is, in fact, illegal. It is a good bet that the left has focused group tested the language it uses to cover up the horrors of illegal immigration. For example, when describing illegal immigration, the left likes to use words and phrases like undocumented immigrants and migrants. These terms are designed to sound softer and take the edge off the fact that these people are illegally in the United States. It is
undocumented because they've had to flee where they are. Oh, wow. Crystal Vender, UFO packed up, moved to Austria because her husband's immigration status was just in limbo forever in the US, but he could get it almost immediately in Austria. It's sad. Yeah, wow.
Important to note that they specifically avoid using the word alien, which is the terminology used in federal law. To be clear,
I'm sorry, do you want to use accurate terminology now? Because you didn't want to use accurate terminology when you were talking about women's sexual and reproductive health, which includes abortion. You don't want to be, you want to be accurate now? Okay. It's just the hypocrisy.
alien is not a negative or pejorative term. It is a legal term of art. It simply means that an individual is not a citizen of a particular country. Language matters here for a lot of reasons, but primarily because citizens of the United States have rights that others, including foreign nationals who are illegally on our soil, do not. If I had to guess, I would say that the left's attempt to wash away the term alien stems from their disdain of actual law, since they want to avoid discussion of what federal immigration law actually requires.
They use alien because you want to take away their humanity, so they're seen as monsters. They're seen as lacking humanity, and they are something to be afraid of. So that's why you use that term, and that's why everybody else who actually cares about humans in this world doesn't use it. You know? It's just a thought. And also, can I say, this is the other thing I was going to say. On your land, I think the ghosts of the native population, they might want a word with you about that. It's not your land. This is not my land. Indigenous people in Australia, the First Nations people in Australia never ceded the land. Okay? This was, and always will be Aboriginal land. Okay? I was thinking about it because I want to buy some land, you know. Not here. I'm going to move before I buy land. And I was thinking about, like, what would I do if our government is too racist, but if there was a handover, like sort of like what they did in South Africa, where they did sort of like give the land back to the people. Now, they do have land back ceremonies here in Australia, and I've been to one. It was really magical. And like, what if, but it's just ceremonial. Like, it's not, they don't have the land back, you know. There are some places that are mined and stuff, and a lot they put money into the local tribes. And I'm thinking, if I buy a piece of land, I think I would definitely have to work out who the traditional owners were and give them money. I think I would have to do that just for my own conscience, you know. Like, I think they should have the whole thing back. Absolutely. So, I was just thinking about it because I know that I want to do it in the next 5 years or so.
Which is everything they refuse to do, and their interest in washing away the overall value of citizenship. Remember, citizenship places a focus on nationality and sovereignty. The left has bought into the globalist vision of a borderless world, and their language choices reflect that. The left loves to say that illegal aliens are undocumented. Not only is that terminology not used anywhere in federal law, but it is clearly designed to soften the concept of illegality by making it seem like it's just a technicality. In other words, if you are undocumented, it makes it sound like you can be here legally, but you're missing a few pieces of bureaucratic paperwork. That is simply not the case.
No, that's actually it. That is the case. And her saying it's not doesn't really prove it.
If an alien has not gone through the appropriate process for obtaining a visa to enter the United States or otherwise followed United States law to enter the United States, they are illegally here. Period. Hard stop. Calling illegal.
She's serious, guys. Also, did you know that most illegals are white people who overstay their visas? Who knew? Who knew? Or maybe that's just true in Australia. Yeah.
Illegal aliens, undocumented immigrants, is the intellectual equivalent of calling someone who breaks into your house in the middle of the night an undocumented homeowner.
Oh, Bethany's laughing. Oh, so funny. Not the same thing, though. Straw man. Hello, straw man. Absolutely not the same thing. Okay. God damn these people. She's just, maybe this is Bethany's first ever laugh.
It is inaccurate and it is designed to be inaccurate. The term migrants or migration are just as deceptive. The left likes to use migrants and migration not only because it sounds gentle, but it also creates confusion. When people hear these terms, they know deep down that migration is seasonal and circular. They think of birds or butterflies. They fly south, they fly north, and
No. If at the moment, because we're having a conversation about immigration, I didn't think of birds or butterflies.
so on. And historically, we have had foreign nationals come into the United States for seasonal or agricultural work and then return to their home countries. It would be reasonable and accurate to refer to those individuals as migrant workers because they ultimately return home. But make no mistake, the current mass illegal immigration we are seeing as a result of the Biden administration's intentional actions is not.
What the hell? I just started noticing that the picture's moving. It just made me feel dizzy.
Migration, and these people are not migrants. It is an orchestrated invasion being led by the Biden administration in conjunction with the Mexican cartels. The
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Biden is working with the Mexican cartel. Remember how they said if you tell a lie enough times, people believe it? My God, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Like,
bottom line is, we win or lose political fights based on language. If you let the other side of the debate set the terms of the debate, you've already lost. In the context of immigration specifically, we have to start using more accurate language to describe what is going on and pegging our language to existing law.
Yeah, sometimes it's not a win or lose situation. Like sometimes being humane is not a win or a loss, you know? It's just a situation where you can help somebody, you know? Imagine that. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I will go to that one, yeah. Ignoring the fact that many people illegally immigrate to escape cartel activity and violence. Yep. And if she really wants what she is spewing, Biden would be king and she would be at the gallows for her talk. Exactly. Especially with what was it? The Dobbs decision? Is that the one that made the Supreme Court said that anything that is done by a president as a part of his formal duties cannot be prosecuted? Something like that. But yeah, Biden could absolutely do that. You know? Obviously, she was a lawyer. I wonder how good she was.
We can take back the language here and elsewhere. We will win more of these fights. So, Bethany, I mean, these are some great examples. And another one that comes to my mind that has been completely co-opted by the left is gender. And I know you have so much experience in the history of your professional life in dealing with this. Where are we today on this issue and the language and the words and the definitions?
Let's talk about the word gender.
Yeah. Are you going to tell us about the difference between gender and sex assigned at birth? Are you going to do that? Because that'd be nice. But I bet she's not going to say that. So I'm going to stop soonish, but we'll get a little bit of this out.
The word gender is no longer a polite way to refer to biological sex, male or female. The word now is completely toxic.
So gender was never like that. Gender is a social construct, always has been. There you go.
It's no longer being used to mean male or female, but now how people identify, which is where we get this idea of gender identity. Katie, did you know that there are between 72 and 1,000 different kinds of gender?
Actually, it's unlimited. Like, there's no set amount. It is just whatever it is, you know. Oh, good night, Demi. I am gonna finish soon. I'm not gonna do too much more. I just want to. I think I've seen up to here. I can't remember, but it's like that. I saw a comment on one of the other videos. It's like, man, how did they manage to make racism so boring? Like, these are boring, you know. And this is what they are passionate about. This hatred, you know.
We should never use the word gender as conservatives. It's not specific and it's nonsensical. Instead, use the word sex or biological sex or male and female.
That's not accurate, though. And intersex people exist. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, exactly. What's the difference? Climate change? Do you mean the seasons, when the seasons change? No, Katie, we don't mean that. But yeah, gender. We do talk about assigned sex at birth. Yep. And cisgender is the description for somebody who identifies with their sex assigned at birth, right? But there's also intersex people. And it is not accurate to say that a trans woman is a biological male, because that's not true.
And I don't care where you are in the administration, you will deal with the word gender. Speak.
Yeah. How are you going to get rid of it then, Bethany? I'd love to hear it.
Speaking of sex, the next phrase that we're going to talk about is sex assigned at birth. Now, I just told you to use the word sex, and you may think that sex assigned at birth, that sounds great. Well, actually, it's not. It's the left's attempt to change biological fact and to try to normalize their belief that biological sex can change. Unfortunately,
look, yeah, that's true, August. There's a YouTuber called what's Jamie Dodger, right? He has a book, LGBT, and he has a doctorate in like the trans healthcare, that sort of thing. Oh, my earring back just fell out. And he's done lots of research on, God damn it, how the biology of trans people changes once they start hormones. So that is changing your biology, Bethany. And you not liking it doesn't make it not true.
many folks, including solid conservatives, have accepted this and don't understand the danger in using this term. In fact,
what's the danger? What's the danger, Bethany? What's the danger to people when we use that term?
Some conservatives have even taken this term and changed it slightly, gender as revealed at birth. The left is
I haven't heard that one.
infiltrating our conservative organizations, Christian schools, and even churches. We must always.
Yeah, so what does that tell you, Bethany? That sort of language, and it's not just the left. It's like Demi was saying before. Yeah, accepting people as who they are and being kind and compassionate, that's what you're arguing against here.
Be on guard. And when a new term is introduced, ask, what is the genesis for this new term and why was it introduced? If you see the term sex assigned at birth, delete it and replace it with biological sex.
This is the first practical thing that this training has told them to do. And we are 26 minutes and 8 seconds in. This is the first thing where they've said, this is what you need to do. But it's not accurate, Bethany. That's not accurate. Biological sex is not accurate. And that's not even dealing with trans people, because intersex people are generally assigned a sex at birth and then may find out later that they are intersex. Some people never find out, right? There's a bunch of amazing intersex influencers, and it's really great to hear how, different their stories are of them finding out that they were intersex, right? How that's come along is, is so progressive, and that's fantastic, because we are talking about like who they are as people. Because just because, like I said before, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And as far as trans people and this new language and whatever, First Nations people of Australia have sister girls and brother boys. They're like trans people, all right? And First Nations Australians are the oldest living culture, 50,000 plus years old, right? Mungo Man, who is like one of the oldest fossils ever found, 50 plus. And they had trans people. So, boop, go fuck yourself, Bethany.
The next issue under gender is pronouns. Don't fall into the progressive left's trap in regard to pronouns. Don't use them in email signature blocks, on LinkedIn, and absolutely do not ask people what their pronouns are on your first day on the job. When I was at USAID, managers were giving...
Did she just use I when I was there? Bethany. Hypocrite. You just used a pronoun.
Training, and we're told that when they have new staff or have a staff meeting, they should go around the room and ask everyone what their pronouns are. Katie, if that happened to you, what would you do?
I think political appointees, Bethany, great question, need to expect that they are going to be tested by career staff the day they walk in. So that question, every political appointee should be prepared to deal with and answer, whether it's in a training. I don't think it'll take that long. It probably will be the first couple days on the job. So a political appointee is empowered. They are empowered because they are absolutely put in the position, whatever level it is, in order to implement the president's agenda. And that is the business of a political appointee and should be the business of all federal employees. So the answer is simple. We're here to implement the president's priorities and agenda. We are not here to discuss pronouns.
We is a pronoun, Katie. And most people just have their pronouns in their email signature or on their Zoom link or whatever, or, on their thing here. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to get rid of that. All right. I feel really bad for Bethany's children because especially if they've ever had any thoughts of not being cisgender, straight, you know, non-neurodivergent. If they have anything that's out of the norm, this person is telling you that you're not a legitimate person, you know, like you don't deserve your humanity. And I've said this to ignorant students before, because I did have a student who said that they were going to teach their children how to be racist and transphobic. And I said, well, don't have children then, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You could have a trans kid. You could have a gay kid. You could have a kid with autism or whatever. It's just plain ignorance. And if you can't deal with that, then don't have children. Oh no, I'm population control. Population control, Tish. Oh God, yeah. So that is part 1 of the left-wing code words and language, full of hypocrisy and just the angriest women you've ever seen. That it's just giving such big Karen energy, you know. And these women aren't feminists. No way. They are a tool of the patriarchy. And they're tools of Donald Trump, you know. Like, these are Trump. They worked in the Trump staff, cabinet, whatever. And that's what they want to do again. And they want to take away all your rights. They want to get their faces in your uterus, tell you what to do with your body, and they want to control you using language. And that's how they're going to do it, because by not using inclusive language, that's how they know that, like, it's like they're projecting and telling on themselves the entire time. You know, we know this happens, so we're going to tell you how we're going to do it instead. It's like the whole thing where they're like, we're not weird, you're weird. These people are weird, creepy, and they need her, in Tim Walsh's fucking words, mind your own fucking business. Well, I added the fuck, but you know, that's just who I am as a person. Yeah, all right. Thanks for the chat. Thanks, Demi. I know she's gone, but thanks for sharing in the chat. Appreciate that. Thanks for the good vibes. It's always about the good vibes. And we are roasting on Sunday/Saturday for the Americans. It's going to be a Plexus All-Stars roast. There's a few Plexus people who are influencers and reality TV stars and just people who are in the zeitgeist. So we're going to have a look at the Plexus people on Sunday. And the thumbnail, I was supposed to be working on the thumbnail while I was watching this, but I did lift up my iPad and it's in my hand, but I did not get to it. All right. Well, thanks for being with me. If you can like and subscribe, if you're not already subscribed. And I've also got another video that's out about a new MLM called Shopley. And yeah, I will catch on the flip-flop, you know, next time. Thanks, Lisa. It was nice to see you live. When I go live, you're usually not, you're in bed. I don't know. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.